In this video, I'm going to show you how to use simple shapes and lines to create letter forms like this. So if I zoom in and look at this word, you'll notice almost every letter starts with this same O shape. All the letters are the same size. The letter E is a deviation of the letter O. The letter D and B, you all have the same O shape. So if I can figure out the shape of the letter O, all the other letters will kind of fall into place. So it says right here at the bottom, use a 25-point rounded cap. Caps are the ends of your lines. And corners, rounded corners. Use that stroke weight for all the letter forms, 25 points. So notice how the top edge of the O is bent, but the sides are straight. So I'm going to hit D for default colors, click on the white fill and hit the question mark key. And then I'm going to come in with my ellipse. And the problem with the ellipse is you will get bent tops and bottoms, but you'll also get bent sides. And that's not what this letter is about. So what I'm going to do is go to the rounded rectangle tool. Okay, if I start from here, I'll just start up here, click and drag, and those corners don't look too round. So as I hold down the mouse, I'm going to hit the up arrow, or I'll just hold the up arrow, and I'll move my mouse like this while holding the up arrow. That's going to give me a nice round corner, pretty much looking like a pill. So when I get this about the right size, I'm going to hold my space bar, move this down, and what I want to do is make the red go right down the middle of the blue like this. Okay, I'm not drawing to the inside edge or the outside edge. I am drawing right down the middle. Okay, that is the key. Strokes are centered on an object, so draw down the center of the object. If you draw to the inside or you draw to the outside, you're not going to get this right. Okay? And it says 25-point rounded cap. So I'm going to take my stroke panel out. I can click the pop-up menu in the upper right and show the options. I want the cap to be round, and right underneath that, the corners to be round. And I'm just going to hit the up arrow here until it comes up to 25 points. There is the letter O. Okay, we'll just keep it as a black stroke just so it's easy to see on top of this scan, but that's it. Okay, what I'm going to do is take my black arrow and make a copy of it. So first, I want to make sure that I'm lining it up. So I'm going to go to View, Smart Guides, View, Snap to Point. And in order to use this correctly, I'm going to go to Illustrator Preferences and Smart Guides. And I want these three smart guides turned on. Alignment guides, object highlighting, and anchor or path labels. I don't need the other ones, just the top two over here and the top one over here. Those are the three smart guides that I'm going to need to use. And I'll click OK. And now, once I've gone to View and I'm showing my smart guides and I'm using Snap to Point, I take the center, click and drag, and now I've got this movement line here, right there. Okay, there's my alignment guides. I'm going to hold Option for a copy and let go of the mouse first. Then I'm going to take my white arrow. You got to make sure this has no fill. Okay, if I start inside this O, right in here, and I click and drag and hit this side, I'm going to select the area right here by clicking and dragging with my white arrow. And I hit delete once. I break open the letter O. Okay, so now I can take my pen tool and I'm going to put it right on this anchor point, this bottom one down here. Click to connect. Then I'm going to come straight up to here, click for the letter D. Okay, with my black arrow, all this does is just loops around and just keeps on going up. With my black arrow, I'm going to select that, go to my rotate and press and hold, and I want to go to the reflect tool. And then once I hover over the center of this O right there, I'm going to hold my Option key or Alt on a PC, Option key on a Mac, and click. And if I have my reflect set to a vertical axis, I'm going to flip the D across, and it'll eventually just turn into a B. So I'll click copy. There we go. Word's halfway done. Now I'm going to take my black arrow again, select just the letter O, and I'll move it over to the letter E. So right there in the middle, I use this alignment guide to line it up right there. Right about there. Option key for a copy, and I let go of the mouse first. Okay, the letter E is a little trickier. So what I have to do is take my pen tool. I'm not going to click, but I'm going to hover over the center. And now when I move my mouse, I'm going to follow this angle until I hit the side. And I see a little plus next to my pen tool. And click. I'm going to add that extra point right there. Okay? Because this angle comes up and hits the side there. It doesn't come up and hit this original point. It's a little bit lower. Then in between this point and this point, I'm going to add one more right here. Click and delete. I'm going to break open that with that one little extra anchor point. Now all I have to do, just like I did with the letter D, is this is an unfinished letter. So it started here. It goes down, up and over, and then stops. So I'm going to click once here to connect, hover over the center, click, and there's your letter E. Okay, perfect. Now, I'm going to take my black arrow one more time. Select the letter O, click and drag the center point over. Option for a copy, and I let go of the mouse first. Okay, this O isn't quite as high, so I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to take my white arrow, select just the top 3 points, and then I'm going to hit the down arrow key on my keyboard, and I'll just keep hitting those down until they come into this little loop right there for the A. Then I got to be a little more precise here. I'm going to take that same white arrow right in between these 2 side points. Okay, I'm going to click and drag right in that gap, and I'll hit delete. I want to break that open with a small little break right there. Okay, in order to finish the letter A, I'm going to take my pen tool. I'm going to start on this lower point right here. Click and let go. Then I'm going to come straight down, shift click. Then I'm going to come straight up here, hold shift, and then click and drag up. Now I let go of the mouse. Now I let go of the shift key, and I'll come to the top. Click and drag to the right about there. And then right here at the end, click. And there is our letter form. If that makes a weird little loop, I can always click this and just pull this bar back a little bit more. There we go. That looks a little better. But now I've got the letter or the word Adobe with no type. It was just drawn letters. So here's the great thing about this. If I selected all of these, I could go to my appearance panel, and you could see it's just a 25-point stroke. So if I click the pop-up and added a new stroke, maybe I'll make that top one, let's go red, make it a little bit thinner, like that. And then I can add one more new stroke, make that top one white, and make that one even thinner. And you can get some really cool effects by just applying strokes to create the form of a letter. So with that in mind, you are not going to turn this one into me. This was to show you how to do the next file. So I'm going to close this up. Don't need to save it. And then I'm going to go to File, New. Okay, up here at the top, I'm going to click Print. Size of the paper I want is letter. I want to make sure my measurements are set from points to inches, and I want a horizontal sheet of paper. And I'll click Create. Okay, then I go to File and Place. And right here in that same folder, Pop Quiz Electric Touch logo is this band logo. Looks very similar to that word Adobe. This was a band that I had to draw their logos on a design job while the art director was sitting right behind me. So if I had to do it, you're going to do it. Okay, so there's your scan. Turn on my options, no check marks. I click place and I just click. There's my logo. Okay, I'll zoom out so you can see that. And with my black arrow, I'll just put it in the middle of the page. Now, all I'm asking you to do for this quiz is to recreate the letters. Okay, I don't care about the background. That's part of a cutoff background anyway. I just want you to show me that you can recreate these words with the same techniques I just showed you on the Adobe Word. Okay, so here I'm going to double click to the right of my layer. Make that a template at 30%. I will create a brand new layer. Let me get my appearance panel out of the way here. Okay, brand new layer. D for default colors. I'm going to click on the white fill and hit the question mark key. And for this one, I'm not going to need my smart guides. So let's go to View, turn off the smart guides, View, turn off Snap to Point, and I highly recommend you zoom in. Every one of these letters is based off of that letter O again. Okay, so I'm going to take my rounded rectangle tool. Right here, I'm going to click and drag. And then I want to hit the middle of the red space. So I'm going to hold my space bar, kind of move this over, right in the middle at the top, right in the middle on the left, and then I let go of just the space bar so I can keep resizing this to go right down the middle of the red, like I've got right there. Perfect. Okay, right up here on my stroke panel in the upper left, I want to make sure, just like the word Adobe, we have round corners and round caps. So I want to click the two middle buttons. Then I'm going to punch up the weight of that stroke to about, well, let's go 18. That looks good. Good enough. Okay. So now let's see what we can do with this letter form. I'm going to take my black arrow right on the center, click and drag, and you'll notice it kind of goes all over the place. So after I start to drag, I hold Shift to move straight across. Option key for a copy, and I let go of the mouse first. Now all I have to do is take my white arrow, start right above and drag a box over the top point and delete the top point. Okay, when the top point is deleted, these have nothing to connect to, so it breaks it open. Again, with my white arrow, I'm going to click and drag over these top 2 points and just hold down the up arrow key on my keyboard to nudge those back up, right there. Then, with my pen tool, okay, this started from over here, it came down, comes back up, so I'm going to click once on this point, click, Then come straight down and hold Shift and click. There's my letter U. Okay, with the black arrow, I'm going to reselect the letter O. With my center point, I can drag first, then I hold the Shift key. That'll move it straight across. Option key for a copy, and I let go of the mouse first. Now with my white arrow, I'm going to delete the side 2 points. So I'm going to click and drag right here and delete. Half an O is the letter C. Okay, here's the greatest shortcut. I'm going to take the letter U with my black arrow. Click and drag this little center point. Now I hold Shift to move it straight across. Option key for a copy. Let go of the mouse first, as always. But over here on my toolbox, I'm going to press and hold and go to the Rotate tool. Okay, then I go right back on the Rotate tool on the toolbox. Double click, and I will rotate this 180 degrees. I'll just click OK. So you can see an upside down U has now become an upside down N, or a right side up N. Or if I take my white arrow, click and drag over this one little anchor point and hit the up arrow key on my keyboard, now an upside down U has now become a letter H. I didn't draw any of this. I just copied the letter O and started pulling it apart. So for the letter T, right next to your type tool is a line segment. Now keep in mind, the ends of your lines are rounded, which means you can't start right at the end because they go around your anchor point. So I'm going to start it right about here. Okay, hold Shift, click and drag, and I'll end a little bit short of the end right there because you can see it extends past my anchor points. Now I'll put it right next to that red line. Hold Shift and drag down, and I'll stop before I get to the bottom because I've got that extending rounded cap. Okay, and the rest is going to be up to you. I showed you how to do the letter C. You could copy it. The letter L is a straight line. The letter I is a straight line. The letter E I showed you before. A lot of this, I would probably start with the O again. Just cut off the top edge, move it up, have the other edge come up and over with your pen tool. Okay, the letter E is just a bigger box with maybe rounder corners, but I'll leave that up to you. You're the artist. I'm getting you started. Okay, the only other thing I would caution you about is the dot on the letter I. Don't worry about these little starburst things here. Okay, all you have to do for the dot is just draw a black ellipse. So if I set it to a black fill, hold Shift and Option, that's your dot. I don't need the little starburst, okay? You'd have to draw all these with the pen tool. Click, 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 and I don't need to see that. So just a little black circle for the dot on the I. You can turn it into me with black letters because, again, when you are done, you're going to throw away your scan anyway, and I'm just going to see what you drew. Okay, so that's your goal. I've started you out. Show me what you have learned to finish this logo on your own. Throw away your scan and send it to me. You can call it last name, first name, Electric Touch. This is your Illustrator Pop Quiz. Show me what you remember, and good luck.